don't know if any of you remember the Love Boat. Captain Steubing and his crew, they worked miracles when it came to love. People would just board that Love Boat and their relationships were just in a wreck. They're shambles. But by the end of the show, as they're walking off that ship, they're totally in love. They're ready to live happily ever after. I don't know if you've discovered this, but real life doesn't work that way. In fact, it's sometimes hard to love. There are a million times in life when every bone in your body says, you know what, this really is too hard. I give up. I quit. In fact, if all of us were honest, we'd say there are times we don't feel like loving our spouse or feel like loving our children. We don't feel like loving our friends. We don't feel like loving people we work with. We've said real love is actually a matter of our choice. And we've been asking you to choose commitment, to make a commitment to learn about love, and more importantly, to grow in love. And if I don't make the choice to do that, nothing happens. That's just the power of commitment. In 1 Corinthians 14, that chapter after the love chapter, the Message paraphrase says this in verse 1. It's about the commitment of love to love. He says, go after a life of love, as if your life depended on it. Then he adds, because it does. And why? Why does my life depend on going after a life of love? Well, it's because it's what God made us to live for. God made me, and he made you to live in a relationship to him and in relationship to others. And if I miss that, I'm going to miss out on life. The verse says our life depends on it. So if you don't make a commitment to grow in love, you won't grow in love. It's like expecting to draw interest from a bank account that you've never made a deposit into. Now, I know that's a bad illustration with the amount of interest we get now, but you know what I'm saying. If I make a commitment to a life of love and I let God work in me and through me, things happen. But I've got to make that choice to do that. I've got to choose to take the risk to love. And I know that's difficult. We think it would be easy, but for all of us, this is sometimes a scary choice. They say, well, what's scary about love? Well, when I open up my heart to love, I also open my heart to hurt. If I decide not to love anything, then I can't be hurt by anything. But once I open up my heart to love, I can be hurt because no one's perfect. And there will be times when people say the wrong thing, where they do the wrong thing, unintentionally, or even worse, intentionally. And it happens in church and marriage and family and everywhere else. So yes, our heart can be open to hurt if we choose to love. So again, the choice to love, I get it. It's a risk and it's scary. C.S. Lewis, he talks about it this way. He says, to love at all is to be vulnerable. Love anything in your heart will certainly be wrung and be possibly broken. If you want to make sure of keeping it intact, you must give your heart to no one, not even to an animal. He says, wrap it carefully around with your hobbies and your little luxuries. Avoid all entanglements. Lock it up, safe in the casket of your selfishness. But in that casket, safe, dark, motionless, airless, it will change. It will not be broken. It will become unbreakable, impenetrable, irredeemable. I get it. Some of you have been deeply hurt because you've made the choice to love. But there's an even greater hurt. And my friends, that's the choice not to love. To somehow hold everything and everyone at arm's length and thinking that life is going to be okay. No, God made you to love. And if you're not making that choice to love, it typically is going to leave bitterness in your life. But it also stops all the difference you can make in other people's lives as well. So I'm asking you to commit again to take the risk to love today. It's life's greatest risk, but it also has life's greatest impact and benefit and joy. Yes, we're going to be hurt sometimes, but there's also incredible joy in the difference you make in other people's lives. That's why we commit to this life of love.